हाय एवरीवन। सो आज का जो वीडियो है ये एआई क्रिएटेड है फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल। दूसरी बात ये कि इसमें मेरी आवाज़ नहीं है। ये पूरा जो मैं इन दिनों सीख रही हूँ जो चीज़ें तो वो मैंने यहाँ पे अप्लाई की हैं। लेट्स बिगिन एंड लर्न बिकॉज इंग्लिश में है, ध्यान रखिएगा।
We're tracking the creative evolution of the one and only Geoffrey Chaucer. We're talking about a massive journey here, going from copying rigid medieval romances to literally rewriting the rules of storytelling.
We've got a lot of ground to cover, so we're going to map this journey across 3 distinct chapters of his life. We'll look at his early French influence, move into his experimental Italian phase, and finally hit the shift to realism that gave us his legendary Canterbury Legacy.
When you look at the foundational records of Chaucer's literary output spanning from 1343 to 1400, a really fascinating pattern emerges. His work isn't just divided by time, it's cleanly categorized by whatever dominant cultural influence he was absorbing at that exact moment.
This timeline perfectly maps a creator finding his true voice. Think of it like a 3-act structure of growth. We start on the left with his French period up to 1372, shift into a much richer Italian experimentation phase, and then culminate in that uniquely English period on the right.
Act 1, Phase 1, French influence. Or, as we can think of it, imitating the idols.
So Chaucer kicks off his career leaning heavily on medieval French literature. He takes on this absolutely massive project, translating the 8,000-line French allegory Roman de la Rose. And this wasn't just a simple translation, it was a total cultural importation. By doing this, he injected the whole foundational concept of courtly love directly into the English literary bloodstream. Oh, and this included all those long, drawn-out discourses on marriage and its, well, drawbacks.
Now, during this same era, around 1369, he puts out his first major original work, the Book of the Duchess. It's a deeply traditional allegorical elegy for the late Blanche, Duchess of Lancaster, capturing her husband's profound grief. It's a beautiful piece for sure, but it is heavily stylized and very strictly boxed inside those early French conventions.
All right, moving into Phase 2, Italian experimentation. This is where he really hones the craft and, honestly, finds his sense of humor.
From 1373 to 1385, Chaucer is absorbing the absolute heavyweights. We're talking Dante, Petrarch, Boccaccio. His technical skills just explode during this time. But the most crucial shift isn't technical at all. It's tonal. Even as he keeps writing these old-style dream allegories, he starts breaking the mold. He brings in a broader range of ideas, much deeper characters, and this brilliant new attitude of humorous detachment. Basically, he stops taking the old tropes so seriously.
And there is literally no better example of this than The House of Fame, written in 1384. On paper, it's a Dante-esque dream allegory. But instead of being guided by some serious classical poet, our narrator gets carried off by an eagle. And not just any eagle, a talkative, vivacious, incredibly pedantic eagle. The whole serious purpose of the poem just gets totally hijacked by how genuinely hilarious this bird is. He keeps that comic satire rolling in the Parliament of Fowls in 1382. It's a celebration of a royal marriage featuring a Valentine's Day assembly of birds trying to pick their mates. But just look at this cast. You've got courtly eagles clashing with a platitudinous goose, a no-nonsense common-sense duck, and a jibin cuckoo. He is masterfully using these birds to poke fun at different social classes and character archetypes. To round out this era, he dives deep into classical legends and courtly conventions with The Legend of Good Women and his Italian-influenced masterpiece, Troilus and Cressade. He's still borrowing some structural elements from Boccaccio here, but his use of rhyme royal is so amazingly rich, it proves, without a doubt, that he had fully mastered his poetic craft.
Which brings us to the big pivot, the shift to realism, stepping out of the dream.
This is the ultimate turning point in his creative life. He completely abandons the fantastical dream worlds and those mythological realms of ancient Troy that defined all his early stuff. Instead, he wakes up from the dream, so to speak, and grounds his stories firmly in the muddy, gritty, realistic setting of contemporary England, specifically the actual physical road between London and Canterbury.
And that leads right into his final era, Phase 3, the Canterbury Legacy, the Master Versifier.
From 1386 onward, everything just coalesces. Decades of honing his craft through French, Italian, and Latin influences are finally unleashed onto a realistic setting. He becomes this absolute master versifier, writing about the real world, pouring out his signature humor in abundance. I'm talking, of course, about the Canterbury Tales. Written in Middle English, this masterpiece gives us the famous prologue and 24 tales, 21 finished and 3 left unfinished. But the real magic here? By throwing together this wildly diverse cast of everyday characters traveling together, he captures a sweeping, realistic slice of life that English literature had literally never seen before. It is incredible to look back at this whole journey. From meticulously translating French romances about courtly love, to experimenting with Italian formats and comic eagles, to finally cementing English realism in the mud of Canterbury. It really leaves us with a fascinating question to chew on. If Chaucer had never stepped out of those medieval dream worlds, what would the stories we read today even look like?